Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Level 1 News. Today is November 10th, and today we're doing business and security, right? I immediately forgot as I was talking.
Business and security is in fact correct.
Okay, great.
We will start off
I knew security was one.
with just a tiny bit of hardware news. It seems like, I don't know if it will catch on, but the hotness that they're trying to make be a thing now is AR, VR, specifically AR. Seems like everybody's jumping in, but boy, do we have very few details on exactly what they're going to sell us.
Apple's AR headset will have Wi-Fi 6E and arrive in 2022. That's just around the corner because time is burning fast. Don't forget about Devember.
And the Minecraft server, which literally, I've talked to one of the mods. We opened it up like Monday night. By Tuesday, they had already defeated the Ender Dragon.
By like 5 a.m. Tuesday. So
Yeah.
that was like 5 hours.
Yeah.
The server was available for 5 hours, and they immediately just destroyed everything.
God, I can't figure out, why is there such a labor shortage in this country?
And the jobs numbers came out today, and they looked pretty good, but then you start to dig into them, and it's like, wait a minute, they changed how they measure.
I think that's a lot of people moving up. The jobs no one is doing right now is the lower tier stuff.
Yeah.
They don't pay well enough to bother.
Well, I guess that is how you have wage inflation as well, right? Wage inflation has to accompany regular inflation. That's how it's supposed to work.
That's also how capitalism works.
And if you are one of the people who is still getting inflated wages, maybe you'll check out one of these. I don't think the availability is very good,
It's been okay.
but it seems like people do like it. And once again, the old red versus blue race is heating up.
Woo! Intel 12th generation Alder Lake performance review. Chipzilla is back, according to Hot Hardware. So here's the article breakdown. We did the video too. The star of the show, honestly, is probably the i5 because it's about $300 and it's 10 cores. 10 cores for $300, which is crazy. The i9 16 core barely outperforms the AMD part in multi-core, but single core is completely bananas. So most of the stuff that you do with your computer is single core or lightly threaded stuff. So this design does have some advantages because you can dump a lot more of your power budget into a few cores instead of all of the cores. It's neat stuff.
It's good to see Intel back in the fight. I know a lot of people like it when AMD just mops the floor with them, but we all benefit if they're
fighting.
Fight.
Yeah.
It does. It is really amazing that Intel has done that, but I'm surprised that it wasn't more because like Chipzilla is awake, and it's like, okay, this is pretty cool, but I want more.
Yeah, but you shouldn't roll it out all at once. You stay only as far ahead of the competitor as you have to.
Yeah, that's true. The motherboards are also still there's a little bit of a price disparity because you can get an okay AM4 motherboard for like $89. There's no $89 motherboard that will run these CPUs properly from Intel.
It's because they're so good. Well, let's talk about Bitcoin. This headline leaves out some other big names. The mayor of Miami has agreed to one paycheck, and Joe Rogan has agreed to $100,000 in payment in this currency.
Incoming New York Mayor Eric Adams vows to take his first 3 paychecks in Bitcoin. He's going to make New York City the center of the cryptocurrency industry, which probably makes the SEC unsettling.
Which is exactly what the mayor of Miami said about Miami. So now we've got a race going on here.
Are they going to try to pay city workers in cryptocurrency? Because I don't think that'll work out for them.
They are going to offer it. Well, in Miami, I don't know about New York. They have this, there is a company that is now started up that will offer your payroll in Bitcoin.
Mm.
And so that guy signed up for it, and he's like, yes, the next paycheck I will get through this.
Interesting.
I think a couple of guys in Miami have been already taking portions of their paycheck in Bitcoin.
Well, if you were riding from down around 25,000 earlier this year, you're feeling real good about that. But they're not going to be feeling real good about that if it craters again.
What's it at right now? I haven't checked it.
Like
for a while.
60, 65.
Is it still
Right
around 60?
around 60. It bounces. I don't think it gets too far below 60 these days.
I think the highest I saw it was 66.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But more and more names are getting into it. What will that mean? Is the price going to continue to go up? We can only hope.
Fox bets big on blockchain.
This is going to be such a dark future, though.
It's not. There's a thumbnail here for a TV show called Crapopolis, I guess. But they're saying that all of their shows, they're going to introduce NFTs and let people buy stuff from the show online and blah, blah, blah.
Once again, we will do a quick montage to point out the dark wave that is coming.
Yeah.
Nike files for virtual goods trademarks in shoes and apparel. That's not much more to that article than that.
NFT Jordans, anyone? That's coming.
EA calls NFT and blockchain games the future of our industry. Meanwhile, Valve is like, what are you doing? You are the problem. Stop that.
I mean, EA's always been that way, right? Like they always have the microtransactions and stuff. This is just a new way of doing that.
Yeah, the quotes coming out of these executives are horrific. This is going to be dark. So they actually call this play to earn, but it's also pay. It's pay and play. So you pay crypto up front to get the game, and then that crypto is sort of like your ante, I guess. And by playing the game, you are rewarded with NFTs that might go up in value.
Or not.
But think about psychologically what that's going to do to people.
I'm pretty sure Valve did this first with the trading card games. Remember when they added the cards to, and it's just, that's just free money at this point.
Well, we learned that a lot of people were upset about Windows 11 because it needed to be able to get to the internet to launch your taskbar. That is a big problem. And now they have an even bigger problem that's kind of the same kind of thing.
Microsoft warns Windows 11 features are failing due to its expired certificate. Snipping tool, the emoji picker, and other parts of Windows 11 are breaking. Why? Because they digitally sign the executables, and the certificate that digitally signed the executables expired on Halloween, on October 31st. And so if you try to launch the snipping tool on November 1, it's like, sorry, this application is not trusted because the thing that was used to sign this application is legit from Microsoft. Expired. Because this is clearly a great implementation of a security feature in an operating system to have expiring executables.
Yeah, so if you were running that in some really remote place with no internet connection to speak of, and it was system critical and it needed to keep running,
nope.
That'd be a
Sucks
problem.
to suck.
But here's the thing about it's like, oh, well, that's the price you pay for security. You can just roll the clock back. If you roll the clock back, you can launch snipping tool.
What a world.
We're in the dystopia. Why?
We're already here. Oh, speaking of dystopian, a Zillow story.
Yeah, the Zillow story is great because, like last week we talked about, it's like, oh, they're going to get some comeuppance for this one. That's going to be fun to watch. Boy, it did not take long.
Zillow seeks to sell 7,000 homes for $2.8 billion after flipping Halt.
What they're leaving out there is the loss. I think on average it's like 7%.
Yeah.
Whew.
So a bunch of rich people thought that they could, get rich quick. And for once, it backfired. Usually it doesn't backfire. Most of the time, it doesn't backfire. But in this case, it did.
Also, there were updates to this. I can't scroll. But I'm pretty sure the number was either 12 or I think it was actually 25% of the workforce will be cut to make up for that.
Yeah.
You think it'll be the guys that came up with that program?
Probably not.
No, not at all. Nintendo is known for artificial scarcity. They use it to amazing effect, you have to admit. But for once, they might not be making the decision about the scarcity.
Nintendo to make 20% fewer Switch consoles due to the chip crunch. Production is revised down to 24 million units for fiscal 2021 despite high demand. A lot of people are at home. A lot of people don't have anything to do. The Switch is a great console for home and not a lot to do and wanting to be able to game on the couch or game in the basement or game on the porch or game out in the garage or whatever.
Yeah, well, that is 24 million. How many do you think want it for the holiday?
Probably
50?
like 35, 40. There's going to be a lot of competition for the holiday. See, it's one of those things where if there was not a shortage of everything, overall demand for these things would be lower. So like if you're a forecaster, if the Switch is available and your competitors are not available, you're going to sell more Switches than you would have if literally anything else was available.
I hope it blows up like the PlayStations did because I'll sell mine.
Yeah, we've got a Switch. We'd sell it for the right price, maybe.
What's your price?
I don't know. My husband got it secondhand, so it would be like a third sell.
You don't need to tell them that.
That's true.
$1,000.
What are you willing to pay for it?
We've learned that Netflix is getting into the video game world, and with their whole streaming video game thing, that's getting popular. Subscription video game services.
This is the third time this game has been recycled. It started out in like India or somewhere, and then it was like general availability, and then they took it down, and now it's bundled with Netflix. So we got duped again.
Well, there's several Stranger Things games. It seemed like they made a lot of games over that IP for whatever reason.
And they make a lot of skins for it in other games as well. I think there's one in Fortnite maybe.
But when they announced this, it was kind of like, okay, we're going to do the Stranger Things games because those are our games, and then we'll have some more games. And I was like, but wait, are you going to have some good games? Like, is that all you're going to have? And they're like,
the answer was no.
We'll tell you later. Well, now we know because it's launched. No, it's the same stuff.
Yeah. Netflix launches into video games for Android with titles including Stranger Things. This is the very they just
recycled the press release,
re-releasing this game over and over and over again to get headlines, which is good. I mean, it worked for them. Let's not forget that Netflix started out life not as a streaming service, but they literally had to mail you discs because there was no other way to do it. They'll eventually succeed with this.
They're a success story for sure. Now, they did add some other games, but they were so generic. It was like the Hoop game.
Solitaire,
yeah. Just the games that you could play on almost any device.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised Snake wasn't in there.
Is Stranger Things, I never watched it, but I remember it was really, really popular during like its season 1 run. I think it's on like season 2 or 3 now. Are people still really into it?
It's insanely popular because it's vaguely retro. It's vaguely, high school crush that got away. It's vaguely like...
It's nostalgic.
But also like, a little bit science fiction, existential danger, 1970s fantasy. There's a little bit of everything. There's something in it for everybody.
I cannot watch shows about kids. Although... Game of Thrones really turned me around on that. Because if you're willing to kill them, and I know there's a chance, then I can believe in it. The reason I can't watch shows about kids is I know that certain things cannot happen to kids in modern media.
Spoiler alert: when they blew up the conference, the round conference hall or whatever, and like the third Child King or fourth Child King, he just opened the window and jumped out. I laughed. It was like, of course.
It was the framing of the scene, I think, that made that funny because he literally just it was a still shot. He just walked into it and then just casually walked. It was like a Monty Python sketch.
I love the fact that you referred to the sept as the conference hall. Like they were in there having a some kind of, well, not even a meeting, like a convention.
That's kind of what it was, yeah. And I don't know. It's just it was the scene from the IT crowd all over again, where it's like, we found some accounting irregularity in the retirement account. It's like, oh, it's kind of stuffy in here. Let's open a window, and then he just
walks out.
That was a great moment.
Cersei had no repercussions for that, though.
For all the things they did wrong in that TV show, there were some great moments.
Yeah,
that was one of them. Well, if you are on Zoom constantly and you hate it and it's the scourge of your life, good news, it's about to get a little bit worse.
Zoom is testing showing ads to free users. Well, this is the end of the ad. So the little thing that pops up at the end, it's like, hey, here's an ad.
Do you think that's going to stay that way?
Yes.
Really? You don't think they'll ever move the ads further into the experience?
Oh, I think eventually it's going to be at the bottom, like when you're watching a YouTube video. Yeah,
that's going to keep creeping up more and more.
You pay to remove this.
They claim that they could not possibly keep the free tier without something to pay for it, so we have to do this. But how much money do they make?
Eventually, it's going to be, Baby Shark? They're going to have an ad that's playing Baby Shark. In order to get rid of it, you have to pay. It'd be very effective.
You have to buy a Zoom NFT.
Yeah.
Well, here's something that you might get for free. Actual free? No, that's a lie. You have to install the app. Ooh, I got that. But that makes a lot of people much less. Actually, they're going to do it anyway, aren't they?
They are.
Drones. Tesla
is letting non-Tesla EVs use its Supercharger network for the first time. The pilot will kick off with 10 stations in the Netherlands.
If you drive a Tesla, do they let you use other charging stations?
No, I think they're all proprietary right now.
That's what I thought as well, because I have a friend who owns one, and he was like, "Oh, there's not." I was like, "Oh, there's an EV charging station in this town nearby," and he's like, "Oh, I can't use that one."
The Tesla Brigade just posted 73 comments. Elon Musk opened up all of the patents and rights for the charging thing. Anybody can implement their own. They just choose not to, which is 98% true. There's 2% of stuff there that's preventing Ford from using it. So,
Although, if they were just open and they didn't have some kind of control like an app or something like that, people would be abusing them in hilarious ways.
People were already abusing them in hilarious ways. There's that guy that he got banned from the Supercharger network because he was mining Bitcoin out of the trunk of his Tesla.
Yeah.
Because of course he was.
I would think Musk would be okay with that.
No, because he's not paying for that electricity.
Yeah.
Musk is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Isn't Musk, oh, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, he's excited about it when it's his money.
Exactly.
And it seems like China, in addition to cracking down on big tech companies in terms of data and how they retain it and that it never leaves the borders, they're also trying to get more serious about this whole thing where their citizens are miserable because the work conditions are basically slave-like.
TikTok owner ByteDance mandates shorter working hours. This sounds like a win. It's not. 996 is the normal working hours. They want it to be 997.
I thought it was less than 9.
No, it was like 10
to 7.
10, 7, yeah. So
Monday through Friday, so there won't be a 6.
yeah.
Although, this is great if they reduce your workload. I don't think they're going to reduce your workload. So now you're stuck, not allowed to come to the office, but you still need to accomplish certain goals.
That seems like a recipe for stress.
Yeah.
Why can't we hire anybody?
I don't know if they're having that problem in China. And electric cars. Oh, man, I missorted there.
Oh.
Electric cars, all the other companies are finally bringing theirs to bear, and we get to look at them. Toyota has one with a bafflingly bad name. Really? Why?
Toyota unveils its first all-electric car, the BZ4X. An electric SUV packed with cool features. Is it, though? So you can get 150 kilowatt version, which is a single 150 kilowatt motor on the front axle, or you can have two 80 kilowatt motors, which is 160 kilowatts total. Why? And that's the all-wheel drive version.
I guess this is the front wheel version. I don't see a motor in the back there. And they're excited about it. It looks okay, I guess. Not a terrible looking SUV.
The solar roof will add 1,200 kilometers of range per year. That doesn't seem like a lot.
They also have the Knight Rider steering wheel. How much do you love that?
They pointed out that that's not actually like the yoke like Tesla. They actually did that in a way that's more sane because the
150 degrees of lock to lock.
Yeah.
Which means that it's a very inaccurate steering wheel.
Yeah.
The higher end car, the more degrees of rotation. Yeah. Because, when you're driving it really hard, you want that. It'll be speed sensitive though.
Yeah.
But still, you're dumbing down the driving experience more, I think. I don't know. Maybe I'd try it and love it.
You ever driven an electric car? My voice got really high there.
I don't have any desire to.
They're fine. I mean, I don't really care about cars. I like that they're quiet.
What did you drive?
I have a friend's Tesla. I didn't drive it, but
which one?
It was really quiet. I don't remember which one he had.
I've gotten to drive the Model 3 and the Model Y. And the Model 3 was definitely zippier.
Could you just stomp it?
Yeah.
Well, the Squid Game continues to be a super popular thing. More and more ISPs are trying to sue over that, by the way. They do not like the amount of bandwidth that is going down to the Squid Game, which is hilarious because that's going to become a badge of honor, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be like winning an award. It's like, oh, yes, we got sued by 7 countries because of the bandwidth. But it also spawned some other things. There's the hilarious crab game on Steam, which is #1 now. Someone made a really hilarious decision there. But also the Squid Game token.
Binance says it's trying to hunt down the Squid Game crypto token scammers. So this was a crypto token. It was trading at about 1 cent forever, and then it shot up to $3,000, and then it went to 0, and everybody disappeared.
Because as soon as it hit $3,000,
they were gone.
It was dumped. And they converted it to something else, and now they are gone. Everybody is in like on fire FOMO because of that Shiba coin. I had my finger on the buy button. I swear.
And you were like, no.
I was like, let me just put $1,000 into this. And I was like, that's stupid.
I know somebody that put in like $200 and they're up like $5,000 at this point.
Yeah. I think from the earliest day, that coin has gone up 88,000%. Remember when it was hot to get your DNA sampled and they could tell you all sorts of things, and I had actually a lot of stories about how inaccurate that was, and maybe they were just doing whatever they felt like. Maybe there was a Theranos type situation going at these, but this makes it sound like they were more serious about the accuracy than we thought, but maybe for the wrong reason.
All those 23andMe spit tests were part of a bigger plan. CEO Ann Wojcicki, I think I'm hoping I'm getting that pronunciation right.
I think that's a Polish name, and you're not even close.
Yeah.
Wojcicki plans to make drugs using insights from millions of customer DNA samples and doesn't think that should bother anyone. So they're going to use all of those DNA profiles to figure out which drugs will be effective and which ones the population are more resistant to look for various things.
Does that surprise anybody?
No.
Like, who does that?
Did you see there was a thing where they identified there's a gene that makes you overwhelmingly more susceptible to the thing?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's like a South Asian gene. Now, if 23andMe found that and we were in a pandemic, so they could tie that back to you, will that affect your life at all?
You get a warning, a postcard that's like, you should contact us immediately.
No, you get a notification on your phone.
You get directions to the camp. You show up or we'll come and get you. Because it's crazy. It's like 50% worse.
Wow.
Transmissibility and infection rate, I think. I didn't read that story that close. Don't take my word on that. But search it out for yourself like you should do with all these stories. And two-factor piracy, hijacking your codes. I've switched everything off of... I'm on, like an app for everything now. But now Capital One, without even asking me, has started using SMS.
No, use an app. What is wrong with you?
Now you're still fine as long as you don't fall for this, but boy, is this a good scam.
Yeah. The booming underground market for bots that steal your two-factor codes. The bots convincingly and effortlessly help hackers to break into Coinbase, Amazon, PayPal, and bank accounts.
The biggest warning sign is what?
That you get a two-factor when you're not doing anything?
Well, I guess that is the biggest warning sign, but I'm talking about once it's already started, and that is the accent.
Oh, yeah.
The accent will give it away every time. The broken English, they're not very good at it. This solves that by just making it all text-to-speech. There's a lovely female voice that walks you through all of this. And it's automated so that when she asks you to read her the code that you just received, they initiate the code. So it happens as soon as she says it happens. And then when you type it in, they've got it. Brilliant. And evil.
It's going to get a lot of old people.
We usually see ransomware take down banks and other institutions like that. Rarely do you see just a good old hack that didn't necessarily try to exfiltrate anything. This was just...
Smells like nation state.
Yeah, it's just we want to shut you down for whatever reason.
Destructive cyberattack hits National Bank of Pakistan. So people can't withdraw their cash. We don't even know how much money is supposed to be in the accounts. They were so thoroughly compromised. They're going to have to restore from backups.
Yikes. And the Pakistan and India, there's a lot of people who they operate with cash and they just pull like what they need every day.
That doesn't work right now.
So you get into a real rough situation quickly there.
Engagement challenge. We have a fair number of viewers in that area. Engagement challenge. Like, how has that been? What's the fallout from this?
What if that is the Modi government trying to get them on the national cryptocurrency?
Yeah, I was just trying to think. Is this like China trying to destabilize something, or is this actually just good old fashioned India-Pakistan rivalries?
Oh right, I just said Modi and that's India, and they hate each other.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Pakistanis. This is a hilarious one. It is whoever came up with this. God, it's like what kind of mind?
4D chess.
What kind of mind is coming in, and they're using it for such evil? Yeah. It puts at risk basically everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, it sounds like hyperbole, but it's not.
The Trojan source bug threatens the security of all code. So the idea here is that you introduce code in open source programs where everybody can read the code, but the code has very subtle problems that will fall afoul of bugs that exist in the compiler. So the code itself isn't actually doing anything nefarious, but when the compiler goes to compile it, it's going to generate code that's actually buggy and has a security issue that is exploitable.
How do they do this? Well, Unicode tries to allow for languages that go left to right or right to left. It turns out with some extended characters, you can reverse that whenever you feel like it. So the code that you read is not the code that the compiler will read. And that can make all the difference.
So just stand up a GitHub action or, a Git hook that will just crush everything that comes in as Unicode down to ASCII, and you should be okay.
That won't break anything. And we have another kind of Android malware that's going around. Seems pretty serious.
New AbstractEmu malware roots Android devices and evades detection. So you get user-level malware, but it can escalate its privileges, and even when you install or reinstall or format your device, it's still there because it rooted your device. Krista, that emu doesn't seem very abstract.
No, he's a very literal interpretation of an emu. In fact, I think that's a photo.
Yeah, but they've added that
filter.
That like TikTok Squid Game 3D coloring effect.
The faux 1970s 3D.
They should have done like paint blobs that look like an emu. Missed opportunity.
You should email them an angry email.
What's the
long email too?
What's the art style where everything is like just colored cubes? I feel like they could have gotten emu across just using colored squares.
Pointillism?
I don't know. Sounds good.
Yeah.
I think it's more modern than that. And the DarkSide ransomware operators, at this point, we're kind of just saying we have no clue.
Law enforcement's like, technology, law enforcement, chasing them, we don't know.
I'm not sure what to do. The brilliant move here would be to turn yourself in and take the bounty and then just disappear, right?
Yeah. U.S. offers $10 million bounty in hunt for DarkSide ransomware operators. So, hey, if you know anything or you have any tips, we'll split it with you.
Just start approaching people on the street and be like, by chance, are you part of the DarkSide ransomware gang?
I think it's like $5 million for the tip leading to an arrest, and then like $5 million for a conviction or something like that. I don't know, something crazy like that.
You better hope they get them all, though.
Yeah. Otherwise, they're coming after you.
Yeah, and they probably have the ability to make your life hell.
I have a feeling that that's going to break ranks with some of that kind of stuff. But that opens up a larger conversation about, what would be effective ways of dealing with that, because we've got nation state actors that are breaking things. Like we have the NSO group that's breaking stuff inside Apple. Does it make sense to use the resources of the NSA and the CIA to figure out what NSO group's product is doing and then feed that information to Apple so they can fix it? Is that an effective use of government resources?
There's a lot of potential for abuse there.
Yeah.
Like everything in government. And our final story has to do with security. Wait a minute. What's security about this? We'll just think it through. I will say OnStar already does this.
So does Google to some extent.
And if you go hard enough, you can trick it. Like you can trigger it without actually, because it's all about G-forces. If you can generate enough G-forces, you will trigger this.
Apple wants iPhones to detect car crashes and auto dial 911. It's a safety feature. It's working really well with the watches when people take a hard fall. So now they want it to be, passengers in a car. Or drivers in a car.
Google Maps, if there's like a wreck or something, it's usually pretty quick to spot it. So like it'll turn the road red, and then I don't know if it's like a user report that generates it, but it'll tell you like what's causing the problem.
It's watching the phones. You can report, but it's watching the phones. Yeah.
It's like mysteriously.
Apple's behind.
Yeah.
You realize they do that with businesses. So like if you go to a business profile on Google, it'll show you how many people it thinks are in the store right now.
Oh yeah, yeah, I've seen that. And it'll give you like a little graph of busiest times, so you can avoid that.
I've gone out to a restaurant a couple of times the last couple of months because that's a novel experience all over again. And I've pulled it up on Google and I haven't gone if Google is like, this place is insanely busy. It's like, no, I'm out.
No thanks. Don't want to be around a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Ever again.
Now our restaurant's going to have to start like trying to Faraday cage the Android phones to keep that down.
Yeah, it's like, no, there's no one here. It's like,
Or if you're one of those hot nightclubs, you get a bunch of burner phones. You march them in and out all night long.
We had a story about that a long time ago. A guy like created a virtual traffic jam by just putting a bunch of phones in one spot.
Yeah.
That could be a service we could start.
You want a better commute? We'll pretend there's an accident there.
Well,
All right, what do we got for Friday?
the only thing that's left, robot nonsense.
Oh, classic.
Oh, we got a lot of nonsense this week. That's probably going to be our longest episode.
We'll see you then. Bye.
Don't forget to join Devember and check out the Linode link where you can get $100 credit to set up something in Linode and,
And oh boy, if you're planning on participating in the Minecraft server, you better get in there.
Yeah, it's time.
'Cause
We started it early this year, and people are already just through it quick.
You're losing ground right now because those insane people are in there and they're doing stuff.
I think the world is larger than last year because the server is better.
They were complaining already.
Yeah, they're like, I want to expand further, and I was
Well,
like, dude.
the one expansion would have made the world map over 9 terabytes, so that would be a little excessive.
But we need roads everywhere. There's no cars. There's no cars.
All right, we'll see you guys on Friday. Bye.